They say you can't rush a good thing. Well, they were wrong. I'm about to build a fully functional e-commerce website that can start making me actual money. And better yet, I'm going to do it all within 5 minutes using our website builder package. So here we are, we're about to start the website building process, and just for full transparency, the page that you're seeing here, how we've gotten to that is essentially clicking into our package on the control panel, and then we've just done the initial part of just adding our domain name so it can set up the kind of package instance. We didn't want to wait for that bit because sometimes that can take a minute or two. We didn't want to just wait around for that. So what we really want to do is get on building the website. So I've got my stopwatch right here on 0, and we're not editing this bit. This is going to be entirely me. If I mess up my words, so I'm going to keep it just for the sake of transparency. So 0 seconds, 3, 2, 1, hit start. Okay, so first thing that we want to do is decide how we're going to build our site, either AI or template. Either are perfectly valid options. AI is going to be the fastest, and it's really useful because it means you can actually build your entire website using just a single prompt. Now, I've recorded some information in a separate page here just to kind of speed this process up, but we've got the name of our brand or business, and we have a prompt that I've written out that is going to describe what our business is, and that's going to allow the website builder package to actually figure out what kind of website we want and what will work for our business. So I'm going to create my site with AI. This is just where you can add separate pages. To be fair, I'll just add all of them. We can always remove them later. So within 40 seconds, and a lot of that was me actually talking, we're at the point where like a website is being built for us. We're going to end up with an actual functional website at the end of this process, and it's only going to take about 10-15 seconds at most. So it's in the finalizing stage. Hopefully this won't be here for too long. Also got this thing jumping at the bottom. Let me just stop that. Okay, so here we are. We have these getting started steps. We can do this later. That's absolutely fine. But this is the website it's come up with so far. But that's actually really good. Like, I really like this already. We can customize the design, and we can change stuff like the color palette. Though, to be honest, I'm actually quite happy with the color palette as it is. But let's try a different one just to see what it comes up with. I mean, it doesn't look that different, but let's try something like this. So, you know, it changes kind of these background colors. It changes the button colors, stuff like that. So you can change the color palette, and you can also individually change these things later. This is just kind of like an overall style change. You can also change your headings, stuff like that as well. I'm quite happy with what it's come up with at the moment, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But you can also change your fonts and everything like that. So this is just the initial customization. You're not by any means limited to this, but I'm going to use that design. We are 2 minutes in so far, and we already have a pretty good website. The next thing we're going to do, the important thing, is launch our store. And this is what's going to allow us to actually start selling products via our new website builder shop. So first things first, add store name. We have our store name already grabbed from the start process where we entered in the name anyway. Our email address, which is where we're going to get alerts, and the currency in kilograms, which is perfect for me. I'm going to save and continue. And then we're going to add a product. So obviously by this point, hopefully you already have some products that you want to sell, or ideas of products that you want to sell. So walnut fountain pen is what I'm going to be putting as my first product. And then what we can do is actually add an image and get an AI written description. If you already have an image of your product, which hopefully you do, I would upload that here. If you don't and you're using placeholders, you can also use the stock image selection as well. So fountain pen, let's see what we got. This one looks pretty good, so I'm going to choose image. Again, I'd only use these as placeholders, so you're definitely better off having your own product imagery. And you can see here it's generating the product description based on that image. So you can upload an image and then have the AI generate text for you that is a product description. Again, this is a good starting point. I'd definitely go in and edit these as much as you need, but it's a great way to start without having to kind of come up with everything yourself. So let's add a price, let's say £50. Obviously you want to think about it a bit more than that, but just for this case, you can see there we have product options, we have ribbon text, so like, you know, new arrival, stuff like that. If I could spell it right, losing valuable time due to my poor spelling. We can also display the weight of the product, which is, you know, obviously can be relevant for certain products. And we also have the inventory, so we can track inventory for this product, and we can say, okay, we've got 10 pens available, depending on what stock you have. So notify me when stock level reaches 5. You know, we can, and this is the sort of thing you can actually have on your website, which is really cool. So let's save and continue. Let's add shipping. So in our case, at the moment, we're just going to be shipping to the UK. So I'm just going to type in United Kingdom. So we're going to do it based on a single country. Click next. and we're going to have our shipping prices fixed. Because this won't be an actual store, I'm not going to go ahead and change any of this, but you can change all of these things if you know what you're doing. So if you know, if you want specific shipping rates, you can add these. You can also add shipping costs, the estimated delivery time, what courier it's going to be with as well, stuff like that. So I'm going to click save, and then I'm going to save and continue. And then we're going to add a payment method. And again, we have a range of options available to you. Stripe is the one which will allow your customers to use cards to pay for stuff. In my case, I'm just going to do pay on collection just because it's an easy one just to select. Give payment to delivery person. But you can absolutely add Stripe and add your own card payment portal if you want as well, which is definitely what I'd recommend if you're going to use going to be doing a serious online business. Let's activate store. And that is now active. So if I go to website, preview, and stop. Whew. So we're on preview. We haven't published yet because that's the next step on. But I'm just going to show you the time that we're at, which is 5 minutes and 66 milliseconds. So I guess we can actually call that a pretty concrete 5 minutes. But we're on the site preview right now. Oh, no, we're not. Sorry. Oh, I probably shouldn't have stopped the timer. We weren't on the preview. Okay, now we are. I misclicked. So this is the site preview. So this is what your website looks like to the end user once it's published. And you can also go through different ways of viewing the website as well. So whether phone, tablet, or computer. And so let's have a look and see what we came up with in literally 5 minutes. So we've got a pretty nice homepage with a pretty cool hero image in the background, which is relevant to the actual market that we're looking at. So you can see, create with passion, craft and love. It's a fairly nice bit of text. You can, and I would recommend that you take a look at these things and change them. I definitely wouldn't say that what you're being given as part of the AI generated experience should be the final product. What I would suggest you do is use it as a foundation, use it as an inspiration for what you actually want to do. Because at the end of the day, it's always going to work better when it comes from you rather than something else. So, but the AI generation does make that whole process a lot easier. So you can see here that we have, let's start at the top. So we've got our business name, and we can add logos and things like that down the road. We have our home page. We have an about page. Should we take a look at? It gives us a nice template to kind of work with, where we've got kind of about us and we can explain what our business is. And this is a good opportunity to put in information about your business. So yeah, if we go up and let's have a look at testimonials. Obviously, we're not going to have any testimonials yet because we're a new business. This is the first time we've set up. If you're an existing business and you already have reviews that you can use, then you can go ahead and edit these and add in your own reviews. But this just gives you a template of what they would or could look like. Obviously, I'm not saying use these AI generated testimonials as a part of your final product. This is just an idea of what it could look like. Got a contact us page as well. And depending on your business, you might want to have a map if you're like a brick and mortar business, and you can add that into this contact us area if you want to, or you can just have a simple email form like this. And obviously that's going to go to the email address that we set as the overall email address for the package. And then we have a gallery. And again, fairly self-explanatory. We put kind of product images in here if we want to, or images that are, relevant to your business in some way. So, you could use this as a way of kind of speaking to your customers, showing the kind of design process and the manufacture process of your products. So in this case, it could be showing, obviously right now it's showing the kind of, in progress woodworking, which makes sense for the kind of store that we've set up here. And then finally, we have store as one of the options up here, and you can see obviously our fountain pen right there. But if I go out to the home page, you can see it's also in the home page, is in that kind of overall landing page, which is really cool. It means you have really accessible store functionality right there on your website, like you would expect to see on a modern business website. So we can see we have our product here. We have that ribbon text that we added, the new arrival. And if we click on the icon there, we get taken through to the product page, and you can see there that we have our stock image. Obviously, again, you'd want to have your own product image in there, but you can also see the AI generated description that is there as well. That again, I'd recommend you edit. You at least check it and edit it to make it more relevant to your product, but it's a really, really good starting point. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the ways that you can customize your website in this specific guide. This is definitely more about getting up and running and more about the kind of store element. But let's take a look at what actual functionality we have with the store. Now, you saw it very briefly when we finished creating the store, but this is the store backend that you have access to once you've, activated your store. You can see here we have our products listed. So once you add more products, they'll become available on this product list here so that you can monitor them. You can check your inventory here if you've actually enabled that tracking. You can obviously see it. We have like filter options up here as well. We can edit our products from here. We can duplicate them if we want, if we have very similar products, we want to duplicate them and kind of just make, iterative changes. We can do that as well. We can hide our products, all that sort of stuff. We go into the analytics, and here you're going to be able to see kind of an overarching view of what's happening with your store, what's happening with your products, how much are you selling, what are you selling lots of, what are you not selling. This gives you a lot of useful information. It allows you to optimize your product offering. You can see what products are popular and make sure you've kind of got more of those, or you're changing your product line to kind of reflect what is popular. You can also see the ones that are unpopular, and you can check and see, is that an issue with how you've kind of portrayed the product on the site? You could use that as an opportunity to make changes to that product description and things like that. It's just really useful information to have. And let's take a look at product import. Now, if you already have an existing e-commerce website and you want to move over to Website Builder, then you can do this really easily. And most e-commerce stores have this functionality of being able to import and export using a CSV. So CSV being comma separated values. So comma separated value files are definitely worth doing if you have an existing database or existing sheet of products, because it allows you just to really quickly just move them straight into your website. Then we have the discount section. This allows you to offer discount codes to your customers, and that's really good for trying to get your store up and running. It allows you to provide these discount codes via emails to your customers. If you want to do like sending lists, it allows you to kind of really kickstart the business by offering discount codes to potential customers. So definitely worth taking a look at. And then we have our store settings where you have, your name, email, currency. It allows you to change all of those things that we went ahead and set up during the initial setup process. So that's all still available for you to kind of go in and change. So that was a very quick overview of how easy it is to set up your own online store. And if you have a business that you want to get online and start selling with, or if you've been thinking about setting up your own online business for a long time and you just haven't really figured out how to get started, there really is no excuse anymore. I've shown you how easy it is, how quick it is, and all you need to do on your end is go ahead and start building. And if you get going quickly, during our January sale, we are selling the Website Builder Complete package, which includes this store functionality, for 50p for the first 6 months. So there really could not be a better time to get started and get your business going. So I hope you found this interesting, and stop planning, start building.